What is up, team, and welcome back to my channel. So today's workout slash video is glute activation based. So you can use this video before any type of lower body workout. It is going to be very important to activate your glutes properly. So the importance behind activating your glutes is so your quads and your hamstrings are not overactive. Yes, you want to feel those exercises in your workouts, but let's say you're doing something that's more glute dominant and you maybe are feeling your quads or your hamstrings, especially like a glute hip bridge. Because if your glutes aren't fired up and they're not actually working properly, this can lead to more muscles being more overactive. So a lot of the times, a lot of my female clients are always saying that they feel their quads in maybe a hip bridge, they're feeling their hamstrings in a single leg hip bridge, but they're not feeling their glutes. Sometimes one glute could be stronger than the other and also could be more overactive on one side than the other. This is very normal, especially for an athlete, somebody that sits a lot during the day. So you can always use this actually as a workout as well. So this is very important to understand, activating your glutes before any type of lower body exercise that you are going to perform. Having this workout is going to be very important and beneficial to you overall. Now, it's probably about 5 to 10 minutes for a warm-up on your own, but I'm going to be doing it a little bit longer because I want to explain all the exercises properly. If you have a step or a riser or a box, please feel free to grab it. If you do not have that, I will show you something instead of that. Anything that you can use that you can actually step onto would be really helpful. So we're gonna get started with some squats. So this is very important. I'm going to teach you how to place your feet properly, how to sit back into your hips, all that great stuff, especially if you are gonna load your body really heavy into a squat, but you always want to start something slight, just body weight, anything along those lines is really important. You can also use a band if you want to add that in. So we're gonna get started. Make sure you have somewhere to stand. You can have a mat, you can have just the floor. If you're at the gym and you're using this right now, just have anything around you that you can have some space just to get your warm up in. So let's get started. We're gonna be starting with some squats. So make sure you are really standing with your feet wherever it's comfortable for your hips. So everybody's hips are different. So sometimes if you're a little bit wider set in your hips, you might want to put your feet wider, but also this is important, you could have really tight hips. So going into a close stance could be really uncomfortable for your body. So this is very important, mobilizing your hips before you work out. So we're gonna sit into a deep squat before we even get into any type of squat movement. So I want you to sit nice and deep into a squat. You want to hang out there. Feel free to actually hold a weight if you want to counterbalance that exercise, sitting really deep into this, opening up those hips. This could be very uncomfortable if your hips are very tight. This can be actually comfortable if your hips are not as tight. Feel free to grab that weight, load this if you feel this is actually a simple workout, simple exercise for you. So I want you to think about really pushing into the hip, into the knee, sitting deep into those hips, a little bit lower as much as you can, chest up, come out of it. Feel free to step out of this and get right back into it. So I want you to think about really sitting into this. Make sure you are breathing. You can hold as long as you want. This is the benefit of this because it's your warm up. You take as much time as you need. If you need 15 to 20 minutes, feel free to do that. That's fine. This is your workout. This is how you're going to prepare yourself for your lifts. So again, sit into it, hold a weight, hold a plate, hold a kettlebell, hold a dumbbell, whatever is a good load for you. If you feel this is pretty easy, I don't really feel anything, open up those hips. Feel free to even drop those knees into this, dipping down into it, opening up the hips. It's okay if your heels come off the floor, hands can be on your head, you can come into a prisoner, whatever feels most comfortable for your body. So I want you just to think about sitting into it, breathing, opening up those hips. Awesome job, team. Let's come up. We're gonna come into a squat now. So this is, again, important where your feet are placed. So I'm gonna come to this side. I want you to think about sitting back into your hips, pointing your toes out a little bit. Toes should not be straight here because you want to think about just getting a nice rotation through your hip as much as you possibly can. And we're gonna sit right down into it. This is a very slow, eccentric squat. This should not be fast, this should not be quick, but you wanna think about sitting into this squat, nice and slow. Think about a tempo in your head. An elevator also works too. You can come up slow or you can come up fast. That is your preference, but the slow eccentric is coming down into it. You are sitting back, breathing, pushing through the top, coming right back up and squeezing up through this movement right here. So you're going up and down, just like so. Really control this breathing. Now the tempo in your head could be a 5, it could be a 4, and it could be a 3. So I'm gonna walk this through with you. So when you think about 1, 2, 3, pressing right back up. If it is a 4 and you wanna take your time a little bit more, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then coming back up. Now 5 could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As you see the difference, I'm just moving right along, just like an elevator, as to keep in your mind. Now, if you are feeling your quads, that is all right, but you have to think about actually pushing through your heels and pushing up through the top. So this is very important as you squat into this, because even if you're loaded with a barbell on your back, you wanna make sure you're taking your time, pushing through the top and breathing. My toes are almost lifted off the floor as a little bit, like somebody's fingertips were underneath my toes and I don't want to step on them. I want you to sit back through this exercise, pushing through the top. I'm really trying to squeeze, not all the way. You don't want to lock out. When you lock out, you're going to get a lot of lower back. So when you push up, you're going to come right from here, lightly squeeze right back into it. Again, slow, controlled, however you want to pace yourself. 3, 4, or 5 for your counts. Now we're going to do is a standing lateral raise to the side. Now this is important. We're going to load our other leg. You're going to kind of sit into it, bringing your leg right out to the side and right back up. Now all of your exercises are going to be either from 15 to 20 reps. Could be also timed. You can do 30 seconds for everything. However you want to time it for your 5 to 10 minutes, or if you feel like you need more, 15 to 20. Rep range does not really matter because it's just a warm up. So remember that as you're warming up, you should not rush anything. Warming up does not mean quick, 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 fast, fast. We're just taking our time. You're gonna bring your leg up to the side, sit into this because you will actually feel this glute activating a little bit as you step in. I'm just gonna bring this leg up so you can see the difference. I want to sit my butt back. I'm not leaning through my knee. My hips are back. If I had a wall behind my butt, I just wanted to touch my butt to the wall. So you want to load this leg, bring your leg out to the side. Make sure you are breathing. Again, pulling your stomach in and you are raising that leg up. I'm just gonna alternate for you. Again, we're keeping that leg up, bringing it out to the side and right back. This could be also used as a workout, so please feel free to use it for however you want. Let's just do about 10 on each just to show you how it looks. Your leg should not be coming all the way up. We don't want to fly the leg up. We want to bring it right at your hip level. If that is too tight, here is okay, but again, you should be really opening up those hips if you can do some mobility before. I have some mobility videos, so please feel free to look back and even use those videos. Again, I already feel it burning in my glutes, right in the outer part of your glute. This is very important to understand. This is hard to activate for some. So if you are feeling it underneath your glute, that's fine too. Just make sure you are, again, sitting those hips back, really pushing the pressure into that leg, loading that leg. I even keep my foot flexed. So I'm really trying to control this movement and breathe right through. Awesome job, team. We are going to use our step. I'm going to pull it up a little bit just so you can see the difference as I'm using it. We want to think about sitting back into our heel as we step up. So a lot of the times we step up, and what's gonna happen is we're gonna get a lot of our quad controlled in this movement because you are leaning too far forward in your toe. So you want to think about sitting back into our hips. So if I'm coming from this side, just so you can see, I want to sit back, booty back, really sit into that heel as you press up. So we're gonna come up, you're just gonna press right up. Think about sitting into your hip, bringing it right from here. Now, the other variation to this, if you want to progress it, I'm gonna show you a regression, but if you want to progress your exercise, you can dip down from here. It is also a little bit of a controlled movement. If you feel like that is really hard to control, that is okay. You want to just make sure you are staying nice and controlled through your movement. Now, if you feel like that is really hard to do on the step, that is fine. If you need to work on your balance, I would say come off the step. Still the same idea, sit into your hip, but you're gonna do almost a single leg RDL here, really sitting back, pushing through your heel, pushing through your hips, and breathing. You will get a nice glute and a little bit of hamstring activation. Now again, if you want to use this step, I'm just gonna slide it back a little bit just so you can see a little bit more of my body as I step up. So again, you wanna sit into that heel. I want you to think about pressing up through the top. You don't even have to come up that much because we're just trying to activate the glute. You don't have to like come all the way up from here. It's not a full knee drive because even when I did that, I felt more of my quad. Sit into your hips, breathe, pull through the top, pushing up. It's all about the hip control as you're coming from here. Again, let's do about maybe 10 to 15 on each leg for this. It's very important to get enough activation through each of your glutes. Awesome job, team. We're gonna bring it down to the floor. So let's start on our backs. We're gonna do a close stance bridge. I do this in a lot of my workouts. The reason I like it close to start is because you're gonna activate a little bit of your inner thigh, and it's a little bit more of the control of this exercise. We want to brace our core. A lot of the times we do core, glute, even core exercises, we're feeling a lot of our lower backs. So even when we're hip bridging off of a box or a step, we're getting a lot of our lower back or hamstring activated, not our glutes so much. So this is the idea of tucking our hips. So this would be arched, there's space underneath my back. You want to tuck your hips under you, really pressure rib cage down into the floor. Think about belly button to your spine. If there was money underneath your back, you wouldn't want me to grab it. So think about pressing nice and hard. Squeeze those glutes, pressing up towards the ceiling and right down. You will feel immediately a kick into your glute. It's gonna fire up because you're doing it right by pelvic tilting your hips underneath you. You do not wanna be anterior tilted. So hips under you, tuck those hips, press up, squeeze those thighs together, up and down, just like so. Make sure you are breathing. I like to do a little bit more rep here, so I would say 20 reps would be ideal. This is very difficult. If you are doing it right, it burns, it feels good because you are activating your muscles properly. So on your own, do about 20 to however many reps you would like. That is your choice. Now you can do a regular hip bridge, putting your feet a little bit apart, pointing your toes out. I would say do this one back to back. So point your toes out a little bit. Again, same thing, tilt those hips. It is not about how high I can hyperextend my hips. That is not the idea of this. It is tucking your hips, pressing up, squeezing right down and up. You want to drive those hips, getting nice glute activation from here, making sure you are breathing. Again, it is all about the control of this movement. Keeping that rib cage tucked under you, making sure those hips are tucked. It looks a little weird because it's like a thrusting motion, but even if you practice from here and just getting that tilt under you, arching, opposite of an arch, it's almost as a reverse twerk if you want to think of it like that. So tucking those hips under you, pressing up, squeezing up towards the ceiling. It is not about your arch in your back and as high as you can get. Now we're gonna flip over. We're gonna come into a quadruped position. So hands and knees, you can either tuck your toes or keep them flat. Preference for you. We're going to do a fire hydrant, but it's going to be a circle. So I want you to think about bringing your leg up and over. As you bring it down, you're gonna open up your hip into a fire hydrant. So again, it comes up and over. Bring your leg up to a fire hydrant. You're gonna get a nice hip opener and a nice activation right in the outer glutes. I'm going to explain this a little differently. So don't let your hip kind of push out as you're coming up. So it would look like, I'm gonna show you from this angle. So it's just gonna, I don't want you to open and your whole body's tilting. Again, I'm gonna show you from the front so you can see your body's not opening and tilting this way. You need to stay stable. Push your palms into the floor, making sure that you have a nice grounding from here. Again, hips do not need to swivel. Try to keep your hips under, again, tuck them a little bit underneath you. You will get a little bit more glute involved instead of so much of your lower back, because a lot of the time, a lot of people are in this position where you're getting a lot of arch. Keep your hips a little bit underneath you. As you bring that leg up and over and right out to the side, you will get a nice hip opener and right back up, making sure you are breathing and pushing that leg up to the top. Again, 15 to 20 reps ideally would be best. Now we're gonna do a kick over the top. So still stay in this hands and knees position. You're gonna bring that leg up and over. This is definitely one of my favorites. Again, it is not about this swivel, swivel, swivel in our hips. You wanna stay nice and stable through your hips. Bring that leg up and over. I just wanna show you from the side. So we're bringing that leg, I'm just tapping my toe, but I'm not getting a lot of hip. I'm really trying to just activate right underneath my glute. Breathing, again, try to not arch your back. Stay stable through this movement. Feel free, obviously, to switch it if you are doing and you're following along. This is all about the activation from here. So feel free to pause the video, write these exercises down. It just is very important to have them to use. And again, making sure everything is nice and controlled. All of your movements should stay in a controlled position. I have one more for you. We're gonna just stand. We're gonna do a Cossack squat, so your feet are nice and wide. Now this is very difficult for many people to get in this position. I'm not going to show you what a lateral lunge looks like, because if you want to do it on your own, feel free. I like this one to get more of the glute, more control sitting into your hips. Think about if you're gonna squat into a chair, sitting back into anything that you wanted to even squat over, sitting into your heel. So I'm going to a sideways squat. So you want to sit down into this movement, really try to press. You will get a nice inner thigh stretch right here, but it's all about the heel. So again, my heel, almost my toes should be coming up because I'm sitting into this exercise. So from the side, I'm sitting down into it, I'm pushing up through the top, I'm not even full locking out my knee. The more you fully lock out your knee, the less you'll actually get in your glute. So sit into it, push up through the top, breathe. You can stay on the same side or you can alternate. Again, you should do about 15 to 20 reps through here. Cossack squat, sit down into it, breathe, and pushing up through your heel. And I'm moving right along down into this exercise. Awesome job, team. That is your warm-up. That is your glute activation. Feel free to comment below, ask any questions, ask for more exercises. If you love this video, please share it, please subscribe, and there will be more to come. Awesome job today, and I will see you in the next one.